And we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Google Ads Unleashed. I hope everyone is doing fabulously this Monday. And to be honest, today I couldn't be more excited because I've been waiting for this for a very long time. And I'm not saying this to make him feel uncomfortable and to blow smoke up his you know what. But actually, I am very much looking forward to this because today's guest is possibly one of the most followed PPC voices worldwide, has been ranked multiple times as one of the top PPC influencers, which not everyone can easily get to. He runs one of the biggest PPC newsletters, and if anyone has ever been on LinkedIn and is in the Google Ads game, it would be a miracle if you haven't stumbled upon him. And this man is Thomas Eccel. Welcome, my friend.
Yeah, Jeremy, thanks. Thanks a lot for being on your podcast. One of the hardest things is always to pronounce my surname. I guess only 1% pronounce it right.
Did I do it correctly?
No.
No.
But only 1% can do it correctly, and those are, I think, just Italians from the north. Yeah, it's actually Eccel, so that's one of the biggest misconception about my surname. I've heard so many different pronunciations already. In the US, they always say Eccel because it comes from Microsoft.
But, you know what? You put, in fairness to my defense, you've thrown me on the wrong path as well, because you told me obviously I know you speak German as well, so I thought there's maybe it's like a red herring, like. Yeah. So, and also I'm quite surprised because it's not macchiato, is it? It's macchiato as well. But no, I'm not debating how
exactly. Always when there is a H in between the C, then obviously then it's like macchiato.
There we go. I hope that's not the only thing I'll learn today.
Yeah. So some Italian classes also today.
Very good.
But yeah, thanks a lot, Jeremy. I'm really happy to be on your podcast, and looking forward to it. And thanks a lot for the nice intro words.
Yeah, so it's been long overdue, really. I've been trying to have a chat with you for quite a while, obviously, because of your high caliber. But yeah, I think what would be quite interesting is, how do you actually get here? You told me about this a couple of weeks ago, but I think you didn't. Well, it was quite brief, right? So it would be really nice to see, how did you slide into it? Because everyone slides into it, right? Like, no one says, you know what, I want to do Google Ads one day. That's my jam. But you kind of land into it. And yeah, it'd be nice to hear about your career and how you've made it to where you are today and what you're up to right now.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I think no one really says, yeah, I'm going to be a Google Ads expert once in my life. Yeah. Also for me, it was quite randomly, I would say. And everything started somehow when I was doing my master's studies in Madrid. I was studying business management, but on the side, I was also going for a community management course in Madrid. So that was like twice a week. And there it was the first time that I started being introduced to SEO, search engine optimization, and how Google works, how to rank on Google. So I started with this community management course to create my own blog. I wrote blog articles, and my goal was always to see, how can I put different keywords on Google to rank on the first page?
When was this? If you don't mind me asking.
Sorry?
What we're talking time-wise?
It was 2018.
2018.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 8 years ago, more or less. So that was the first time I got in touch with Google search, but more SEO specific. And it was also, I think, the first time I heard about Google Ads, but we only touched it briefly. And then once after my master's, I did an internship at an Italian company called Dr. Share, and I was in the corporate digital marketing department. And there was one of my colleagues at the time who was really into Google Ads and showed me the first time the platform. And I was like, yeah, it looks quite cool. And he told me, like, yeah, this is an auction-based system, and here you can bid on keywords. And that was the first time I was, I would say, being inside the platform. And then out of nowhere, when I almost finished my internship in Italy, I got a LinkedIn message from a recruiter. I was not active on LinkedIn at that time, but the recruiter told me, are you up to coming to Lisbon? Because we have a big client who is looking for German-speaking agents who are working in the digital marketing space, but we cannot tell you who you will be working for. So,
was
but they said,
was it the MI5 by any chance?
Kinda. No, and they said it's a big global player in the marketing field, but we cannot tell you who this client is. So I said, yeah, let me check. So she sent me over the contract, and then somehow indirectly they told me, yeah, you will be working for Google. And I said, Google. Yeah, okay, why not? So I put my suitcase together. I looked for a flat, and I traveled with 22 years to Lisbon. My parents were a bit scared because they didn't know where I was going towards.
What's going to happen?
What's going to happen. And so I left Italy again because I was studying in Vienna before and Madrid, and now I went to Lisbon. And I was was going there with my suitcase, and I think 2 days later when I arrived, I went to one of the buildings. I didn't know if it was Google or not. And when I was outside of the building, it said Google. So I was like, okay, am I now really working for Google?
I can really see the picture. You're just like walking somewhere. What the hell?
Like
where am I? Yeah. It's just a random probably building somewhere.
Yes. Yeah. So then nothing. I entered, I got a badge, and there were like 4 other people in the same batch as me. They started on the same day. And we were in a room with a teacher, and the teacher was telling us, yeah, you're going to be working for the Google Ads support. So I got thrown into the Google Ads support, and I didn't even know where I was be working for. So everything started like 1 month of intense training of Google Ads. I started being live, meaning I was an agent on the floor. It was called like this at Google. So I was starting to get calls, emails, and chats from any agencies or business owner who's working with Google Ads and had questions, right? If you click on Google Ads on the question mark and you go to support, I was on the other side trying to help you with just 1 month of training. And and then every day you had to solve around 15 cases, support cases. And with every day I got better. I saw more stuff. I had internal help from Google. I had the internal Google, which is called MoMA, because Google has their own Google. So I was able to search in Google's own Google called MoMA. So there's way more information also about Google Ads, internal docs that I needed to read. And then after 3 months, I got promoted, and I was working for the biggest DACH agencies and biggest DACH companies, being the support agent for them. Then after 8 months, I said enough. I never wanted to be in the support. But I learned so much, and there was a new project. That
must have been tiring as well at times.
And there was a new product opening. It was called Google Ads Optimization, and I started optimizing for the biggest clients in Europe. And that's how I ended up in Google Ads. And since there, I've been working 6-7 years every day in Google Ads. That's quite insane. Random.
that is random. And you know what worries me a little bit, but also explains a lot, that you get 1 month training.
I got 1 month intense training, and then for the big clients, I got another full month of intense training.
That's crazy. Well, the good news is that obviously it breeds people like you, so that's fantastic. On the other hand, you probably know it yourself. Sometimes you get some right wallies. By the way, you're allowed to swear on here. It's totally fine. Sometimes you get some questionable people on there, but thankfully that wasn't one of you. Very interesting. So you just came from the other side. What is that like? Would you say that gives you like a bit of an advantage, or do you feel like did you feel like you had to almost like relearn? Because of course, as you know, some of the core practices that Google, I'm not hating against your former employer, by the way, but you know it yourself, right? Like some of the standard suggestions, or many of the standard suggestions are questionable.
I was like in my Google Ads support job, I was never being in touch with any strategies because I was just there to help technically. I had to know inside and out the Google Ads UI. I needed to be able to rebuild workflows that the client was doing, because they just sent me screenshots. I needed to see how they came up with this error, with this bug. So it was very technical. I never had to touch any applied recommendations, auto-applied recommendation or strategies. I was not even allowed to talk about strategies. But then in the second part on the Google Ads optimization team, it was there were like standardized optimizations, for example, keyword expansions that we all did manually. We never relied on any machine learning. We never relied on any auto-applied recommendation, because at the end what we were doing was creating optimization by hand that the auto-applied recommendations were not being able to. So I never had problems to ethical problems to say everything that I say here, it's just for Google and not for the advertiser, because I was doing it myself manually. It was manual work. So yeah, I never had problems with that. Yeah.
Different times. It only started about them, by the way, sort of 2008. Well, 2018 was smart shopping, I think, was sort of the biggest step.
Yeah, that was all 2019.
Where I worked. 2018-19 must have been around that time. I genuinely thought I'd lose my job then. I was like cracking myself, and then it turns out it's totally fine. There's plenty to do still. So what happened after that? Obviously, you left Google, and then you started to work like client side then, or?
Yes. So I was still, at the time, I was 3.5 years in Portugal, and 2.5 years about it was for Google. And then the last year, when I was in Portugal, I was working for Jungformat. I was Jungformat Switzerland. It's like one of the big creative agencies in the DACH region. And I was hired as their first Google Ads expert. And I had the goal to create my own Google Ads team within Jungformat, but I was remote. So I was the first remote employee ever at Jungformat Switzerland. And I had the goal to get more clients in Google Ads for Jungformat, manage them myself. And once I reached a threshold of, let's say, 10 accounts where my bandwidth was over, I hired other people, and those people were all people that I knew from Google, back from where I worked at the Google Ads optimization team. So I took in all the good friends from optimization team where I knew they worked well and have a lot of knowledge. I took into Jungformat, and they were working alongside me in Google Ads, in the Google Ads team at Jungformat. And I have been working. I was working in Jungformat for 4 years. So at the end, I was the head of Google Ads.
Did you manage to? So you mentioned something. You had to actually win clients for the agency as well, for the Google Ads side of things.
Yeah, not actually. I was not sales, but like every client that was looking for Google Ads, I was the one who was taking care of this client.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
But I was not doing sales. No.
Okay. I was wondering whether that was like some sort of I don't know, because typically Jungformat, if I think of Jungformat, it's like sort of more like really clever, big campaigns, if that makes sense, right? Some big marketing sort of stunts and so on, because that's what they're famous for.
Yeah,
super interesting.
That's true.
But
I was really just for Google Ads. Yeah, very
so
specific.
how did that evolve then with the LinkedIn side of things?
Yes.
Because you must have thought at some point, you know what, makes sense to start posting about this sort of stuff. And well, what a snowball it's been since then.
Yeah, what a ride it has been. Yeah.
How many followers do you have now, Thomas?
Well, combined, I have 85,000 followers, but most of them are on LinkedIn. So almost 80,000 on LinkedIn, now 5,000 on YouTube also. So yeah, my focus is now growing YouTube a bit more.
That is some mental stuff. Wow, amazing. So did that happen around that time then as well, or what was the crack?
Well, LinkedIn, obviously you can grow LinkedIn not from one day to another. So it's a very long-term growth. So I started, I think, 4 years ago together with Adrian Decker, Miles McNair, and any other.
Adrian's been on here as well.
Yeah, I know.
I speak to him regularly. He's a very, very nice man, actually.
Yeah, I met him many times. And at that time, I was working at Jungformat, and then I saw on LinkedIn a post from Miles that he opened like a PPC hub on Discord, where there were like a community for PPCers. I didn't know Miles, but I just saw the link and I said, okay, I go to Discord now. I didn't even know Discord. and I entered there, and I saw, oh wow, there were like 300 PPC specialists. I didn't even know that so many existed. Like it was like I never had contact with a lot of PPC experts before. So I was like, really cool. So here we can talk about support, and here we can talk about strategies. And since I was coming from Google on the technical side, I had a lot of knowledge to share, and had a lot of tips and tricks I could give everything, because I knew the internal side, so that gave me advantage, obviously. So nothing, I was like in this Discord group, getting to know any other PPC expert that is now also on LinkedIn. And people were starting to share stuff on LinkedIn as posts. And I said, yeah, me too. I also want to share. I have a lot to share, and that could benefit other PPC experts. And I started sharing, and then, every year I got more followers. Like probably the first year I got 10,000 followers, then the second year 30,000 more, and then the other year 30 again more. It has been a steady growth on LinkedIn. And when I look back, I think I have been working really consistently. Every day I post since, I think, the last 2 years. I didn't miss one day. So obviously consistency mindset is really important there.
Yeah, obviously, So that takes a lot of obviously content, right?
Yeah.
How do you find sort of that all of that information? Is it like, has it gotten to a stage where people like sort of make you aware of this, or you sort of, do you browse the internet? How do you stay up to date? Because partially that's why I started this pod as well, right? Naturally, we've quite frankly, of course, won business through it, right? It's for it, but for me, it's like just a lot of fun as well, just to talk about it, to broaden my horizon, to get to know very interesting people like yourself. But of course, it's hard for me as well to stay up to date. Like, for instance, you of course are a source of staying up to date. How hard is it to always be at the forefront of all of this? Like, how do you sort of get your information together? Also, what's really interesting, how do you sort of, what's your process, if at all, to judge what's either BS or how do you sort of, because sometimes it can be like not an opinion, but of course certain biases go into that as well, right?
Yeah. So in general, I think my mind is optimized a lot now towards any changes that I see in the Google Ads UI. So that's like one of the first things when there's something new, and I'm in Google Ads every day since 6 years. So I know every change more or less. I can even have the time frame when the change was. So I know more or less.
Actively manage clients then as well, like
yes.
in a capacity. Yeah. Okay.
But
Interesting.
I'm working at Profit Metrics now. So there I don't manage clients. I only consult the clients for POAS. But then on the side, I have my company. Like where I also manage clients, but those are always clients that are not with Profit Metrics, because
you have to
yeah.
pitch both at the end, by the way, how people can get in touch with you if they require your services at all. Don't forget to say that. Yeah. Okay. So, carry on. Sorry.
Yeah. Exactly. So I trained my mind on that, I would say. So everything that is new, I see directly. So usually it comes from me being in the Google Ads account and seeing something new. Then I first check if it's a big change or not, because I'm doing one post a day. So I need to get my 100 followers a day or 80 followers a day to have a steady growth. So the post needs to be useful, needs to be valuable, and not just a little update that nobody cares about. So I value if this update is worth sharing, and if not, then I will need to find any other content that I have in mind as a post idea. But usually I find the news myself. So usually then I get featured in Search Engine Land. I get featured in any other newsletter of Johan, of Adrian, of Hannah, whatever. So if I find it myself, it's obviously a bigger exposure. But I also scroll LinkedIn and I see any other news that is popping up from other PPC experts, and then I credit them in my post. But I will also create one post myself then. And then also obviously reading Google blog posts, scrolling sometimes through Instagram to see some content ideas if I need. But yeah, I never had any struggles with not finding a content. So
Yeah.
that has been going on. I think I did now over 1,000 posts in for 360 posts a year. So when you put it together, like over 1,000 posts, and it never got boring. So I think also a bit of passion is obviously there for Google Ads.
Of course, yeah. Well, the thing is, because a lot of people do struggle to keep up to date, right? I'm not sure if it's a lack of drive or lack of how should I say, drive, I suppose, or self-efficacy, right? So it's kind of tough for them. And of course, but the good thing is you, of course, actively manage accounts as well. So are these more like sort of, what's your kind of sort of favorite? Are you more towards e-commerce, or is lead gen more your jam? Probably more e-commerce with profit metrics, I'd imagine, as well.
Yes, before when I was in the agency, I had both lead gen and ecom, and now with profit metrics, I really specialize in ecom. So I think right now I'm really into ecom. I think there's so much more potential also for manual optimization than on lead gen. So right now I would say I'm getting really deep into ecom. Yeah, but before I was doing lead gen and ecom both together.
So given that you've got such a track record of noticing changes and how the platform changed, how the whole company, Google itself, has changed, what's sort of your prediction where the trajectory is heading in 2026? What kind of skills would you say are making our jobs the most valuable to clients, and sort of and also what actually grows accounts nowadays?
Yeah, so I think we should be able to adopt AI in some parts of our Google Ads job. For example, for search term scrubbing, for I don't know, testing creative hooks and angles. For example, that's something that we can automate. We can also automate for I don't know, creating Google Ads audits. For example, with Markifact, I'm doing it with it's a platform that really helps me to do audits to get the first picture. But then I think it's important to keep AI as your assistant, but not let AI take over. So, for example, any budget decisions or any communication with client, I think that's still on our side. We have to really be careful with that. I think communication with client is one of the biggest parts that you in 2026 you still can do a big impact, right? Because if you want to retain the client, if you want to get new clients, I think communication as human is really important. But in general, I think obviously Google Ads is heading towards a more automated system. We see it with demand gen. We see like now, for example, demand gen campaigns can create videos out of your image ads. We see PMAX getting completely automated, but Google is giving us a lot of control back. That's also something we saw last year. So suddenly now we can exclude audiences again on campaign level. We can have search, we can have keyword exclusions, we can have gender exclusions, we have demographic exclusions. So I think it's a signal that Google says, okay, we automate, but you are more in control now than last year. And that, I think that's giving me also like a bit more it's also a positive sign towards PPC expert that we're still there. We're still not just the coach outside of the pitch, but we're still the coach and the player, right? So we're still on the pitch playing in the Google Ads game, even if Google is automating everything.
Yeah, I think that's where it's going as well. Just because, for at least for the near future, I don't know what's going to happen in 5 years. To be honest, I'm not even worried about what's in 5 years, because I always see a lot of people even like, how do you prepare for AI first search and so on? Like a lot of clients ask me, and so I don't fucking know. I genuinely don't know, because no one knows, right? So why worry about something you can't control anyway? And that's why I think you just have to try and adopt it as best as possible for as a tool, right, to do certain tasks faster. We find, for instance, it helps us a lot with client research, like audience research. So for that, it's absolutely insane. It's amazing for sort of bouncing out CRO recommendations, for instance, depending on the prompts, of course. any ideas for angles in headlines and descriptions and so on, but the human element still is there. It's just simply not quite there. The uncanny valley is still there. You could just you can tell AI written text straight away, for instance, right? So
we still have our job, right?
Yeah, of course. What are sort of things that you use it for? Some things where you would you mentioned client communication where you wouldn't let it handle stuff whatsoever.
I think
because you've built your own PPC GPT as well. By the way, I have installed that, but I let you tell us about what it does.
Yeah, so I built the GPT back when OpenAI released the GPT store. So I was one of the first in November 2023. So yeah, already some years ago now. And I was annoyed by using ChatGPT for getting headline ideas or descriptions ideas for RSAs or PMAX. Because I always had to type in, okay, please remember headlines have 30 characters, including spaces, description 90, long headlines 90, and so on. And I was annoyed by that. So my idea was clear. I'm gonna build a GPT. It was first for me. And I tell the GPT, I construct the GPT that my headline should be 30. And if I text you, please write me a headline for the client X. Please write me a headline that it's 30 characters, including spaces max. So that was the first idea that I had. So I said, okay, I'm going to construct this GPT. And if it makes a mistake, I will tell the GPT again, you have to be sure that the character limit is never exceeding what Google Ads allows. Nothing. Then I started it. I used it for myself. And then I was like, but maybe I should feed it with more information. It's also just like information that I have in mind, and then open it for my community. I think at that time, I had around 40,000 followers. So the half that I have now. But still, I knew that if I post about it, I think many would use it. And I checked then the GPT store, and I saw that it was ranking number 1 on a keyword like PPC. So I knew, okay, this is gonna be good, because if more people will discover the GPT store and they put PPC inside, I'm gonna be there. So I started sharing it for my community. I posted also content around it to get it in the head of everyone. And then more people used it, and it got better and better. And you can also rate it. And I think it's one of the best rated and biggest PPC GPTs out there now. I think we will be close now, reaching 100,000 chats. It's a massive machine. And obviously now it can make way more. And I still use it every day. If I have something related with Google Ads, I go inside my GPT because it's programmed for it.
Yeah, so you use it obviously for those. What you mentioned, client comms. Definitely do not do well. Where else could AI be helpful, you think, especially in this year? I've got, by the way, 2 more questions of grilling, and then we'll be landing this plane shortly. Yeah. So where would it be useful otherwise? What do you think is going to be?
I didn't hear. It was.
What do you think is going to be the next sort of real big thing? Now you've mentioned, for instance, in creative production, might be an angle where you think sort of the next big breakthrough is going for our jobs.
I don't know. It's somehow it's like breaking. I don't know. It's on my side. Let me just see.
By the way, not to worry.
But we can cut this out, right?
Yes, yes, it'll be edited out. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear now. Yeah.
Basically, the question was, what do you think is going to be the next really big, massive change that we will see with obviously the usage of it is very important. In some areas, it's completely overused, sometimes even useless, right?
Yeah.
For quick audits, it's fine. I've done an in-depth audit for a client that returned after a year and a half yesterday. No AI could have solved what the actual issue was with them, right? It needed a human. But what do you think is going to be the next big barrier that's going to be broken? Where?
Yeah, that's also a good question. And always when Google or OpenAI launched a new AI tool, I was like, oh wow, I never thought about it. So it was always like a surprising moment. But I think we are moving very fast in the video and image AI creation. And Google is integrating those also now in products to the Merchant Center, Nano Banana Pro for PMAX campaigns inside the Asset Studio or demand gen campaigns. So I think we will not have like a massive new AI tool, but I think we will have all these AI tools that Gemini has produced over the last month optimized and being more perfect than they are right now. I've seen, for example, just yesterday, a stunning image from Nano Banana Pro of a girl like zoomed in, and you can see like every part of the skin. So it's like you can now really create crazy AI pictures and videos that I think
So what really freaks me out is almost the perfect imperfection, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
Like it's not even like sort of smooth anymore, and even the jump within a few months only, has been absolutely scary.
Yeah, true. And I think the big update that I'm still waiting is obviously to get VO3 inside Google Ads, because we only have Nano Banana Pro for image, but we are lacking a big, nice video AI tool for Google Ads. So I think this is gonna be the next big thing that we will have, because since we are also moving always more a bit towards demand gen campaigns, which Google is pushing a lot. I think Google Ads specialists, they have to learn more graphic design skills. We don't need to have, for example, now skills in Adobe Photoshop, because we have nice AI tools like Nano Banana or VO3 in order to create creatives also for our clients. So I think our role is also changing a bit towards being also we should also deliver creatives for clients, because we usually know which creative works, and we have this information that usually the client don't have. And I think Google will facilitate us all these tools inside Google Ads for free, like Nano Banana Pro and hopefully VO3 also, in order for us also being able to create creatives for our clients and not just manage Google Ads account, because I think that time is over. That was like 2019, where we were just looking at the UI, Google Ads, and steering with max CPCs or CPC. I think we have now a more comprehensive, bigger picture role, and we are not just here to steer campaigns. We also have to look at campaign objectives, business goal of clients. We have to work outside of Google Ads. We have to see seasonalities. We need to know the margins. We need to know when to push, when to break the ad spend. And we need also to know how to create creatives when the client needs it. Yeah.
You know what? You almost you pretty much answer what would have been my next question. What do we have to be good at now?
Yeah.
And pretty much it's exactly that, right? We have to more or less become co-pilots of the business and use Google as the tool to achieve whatever the business goal is of our clients, right? And not find the efficiencies in pause this keyword or add this search term as a negative, or test, I don't know, target this target CPA versus the other one, or God knows what, right? You won't find the efficiencies there anymore. I genuinely think it actually goes to the degree that we are thinking of hiring a creative strategist next, right? Because I'm of the same opinion. I think that's where the trajectory is going for two reasons. I'm seeing now at the end of January, we have in overall the results have been quite good in fact, really good in the agency. But something worrying I'm seeing everywhere is that general search demand over the last, I'd say, year, maybe also post-COVID, of course, has been generally declining. Of course, one could point at ChatGPT or whatever as that is where people to go to search. Partially that's true, maybe a few percentage points. But I think there is not a big abandonment, but I think people are just discovering products more differently. And when you also look at YouTube revenue over the last couple of years, especially since like 2018, it's just been like a crazy curve upwards. So naturally, you would think Google will do everything to facilitate us to move the spend to a platform which they've historically been really poor at monetizing, right? Because everyone knows YouTube ads don't work, right? Like that's what a lot of people are saying. Of course, they do work, but you have to know how to make them work, and you have to have great creative, and you have to know how to measure its impact, right?
Yeah.
So I'm absolutely convinced that that's where it's going to go. Mega interesting. Maybe I'm going to ask it anyway. What makes a good Google Ads expert in 2026?
A good Google Ads expert. Well, I think a Google Ads expert is good if he or she has a lot of experience already, because Google Ads is about experience. You need to know how the campaigns behave once you click the button, once you change the targets, when you change the location, when you I don't know, make a Hagakure campaign restructurement. So you need to have obviously experience for what you're doing, because it's you need to know how it behaves, and if it behaves wrongly, you need to know how to counteract. So I think obviously experience is very important. But I think a Google Ads expert in 2026 really should not live only inside the Google Ads account. It should live like on the business goals and on any other data that the client can facilitate him or her. So I think it's really important to look outside of the window and counteract on specific seasonal changes, margins, as I said before, and look not just on specific metrics like traditional metrics like CPA or ROAS, but have in mind that the ROAS is not giving you always the truth. It's not. It's just comparing how much revenue you made with your ad spend, but go more towards contribution margin and POAS biddings, because then you really can make money and steer the algorithm towards profit, which I think at the end is the most interesting for the business owner. And I think a good Google Ads expert should not rely on nice high ROAS, but should be facing the truth and knowing that at the end the ROAS is not bringing your client money, because only profit is. So revenue is not the main KPI.
I think that's a great one to finish on. I think that was brilliant. Thank you so much for that, and I think insightful as well to see where hard work gets you, what to a certain to where you are now, and obviously what it takes to just stay ahead in the game, right? And how much it takes as well, because what you've all just mentioned is, there'd be a few people listening who are like, holy shit, I've just started my little venture from my bedroom, and there's so much to know in this platform, and there's so much to learn, that there's still a place for us for a very long time. And that's great. How can people get in touch with you if they, have maybe, well, we even got, I know for a fact, listeners with quite substantial budgets as well. Mm-hmm. So how can they get in touch with you? Also, if they're interested in adopting profit metrics, something I've been harping about for fucking ages on the pod, that every business that has many products, different margins, or complicated carts must have it, really, if they want to use Google Ads efficiently. How can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, I'm obviously on LinkedIn. I think that's harder because I don't. There are so many connection requests that I might lose it. But if you make a connection request with a message on it that you're from the podcast, then I will see it. If not, I have my own website, thomaseccel.com. It's a shop for Google Ads resources.
Not Eccel, by the way. We've established that at the beginning. Yeah.
Exactly. There you can get in touch with me on the website. And I also have YouTube, my YouTube channel, which I started last year. And also on LinkedIn, I have the newsletter. But in getting in touch, I think the easiest is on my website, thomaseccel.com.
Super, perfect. Thank you so much. Well, thanks very much for joining. This has been super insightful. As always, guys, if you want to also get in touch with me more, the Jam, same thing, either on LinkedIn or via the website younganddigital.marketing, and go and give Thomas a follow. He shares the best stuff, and basically I got the little what's it called, the
The
thing
bell.
notification, the bell. That's the one. You always pop up every single day.
Ah, really?
Yeah, you do. Thanks, guys.
I hope I'm not annoying now.
No, absolutely not. This has been Google Ads Unleashed, guys. Thank you very much for
Thanks,
listening.
Jeremy. Bye bye.